Morning, Brad.
Morning.
We're here today to look at the restoration project that we'll have going on in the month of July for Shane's log house. Of course, the original home place of Anthony Shane, our village founder. This house is probably dated back to the early 1800s, so it takes quite a bit of extensive maintenance and also work as you stop and you look at it. We have some logs that right now are starting to get bad. The roof, of course, needs to be revitalized, and the chinking needs to be sealed. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done, and we have a special individual who does restorations of log houses as well as forts coming here to take care of it for us. And it's, again, a very extensive restoration project, and it's going to be a very costly project. So we certainly encourage anyone who would like to donate to this project to write a check to the Leota Braun Foundation if they can. And any little amount would help. You know, a little bit adds up with a lot of people get involved with it, and we'd like to see this thing be taken care of as soon as possible before it gets any worse.
Okay, well, let's just walk around
Okay.
and see some problem spots.
Well, let's take a look over here on this side. This is the north side. As we look at it, you can see this log here is just about gone. Large chunks of it have come out. You can see here on the ground some of the stuff has come out. Some of that's even some chinking as well. So this whole log may in fact have to be replaced, as well as the one below it. And so, you know, as he does this project, he's going to do a total evaluation to make sure that when he's done, this job is complete and will last for many, many years to come. So as we go around to the west side here, we have, again, some logs that may possibly need replaced. I don't know how he'll work with these, but some of them are rotted. Some of them have some spots that probably could be replaced, maybe sections of log rather than the whole log. But the wood is starting to split and separate, and again, chinking is starting to fall out. So he's got a lot of work to do as he starts this endeavor here. Our doors, right now, we start to see some of the doors are rotting along the bottoms, getting soft on both this side and the other side. So we want to make sure, again, we get those taken care of. He's going to seal the chimney. The chimney itself has a few spots that need sealed up, so that's another item of repair that we'll have to take care of. And again, you'll see some logs up here that really need repaired. And I guess maybe like people, when it gets old, we get a little rickety and we need some repairs on ourselves. And you have something this old, and I'm talking 200 years old, it needs proper maintenance and proper care. So we hope to get this done in another month or so and restore it back to pretty much its original condition. And it's something to be proud of. There's very few communities that have a home of their original founder like we do. It's so great to have this here. It's really iconic in our community. We're very fortunate to have this available. And Anthony Shane was quite an individual. As most people know, he knew a lot of very famous people. He acted as an interpreter and a scout for the Americans in the 1800s. Moved out west when the Shawnee went out west to Kansas, Oklahoma, and became an interpreter out there. He actually worked for William Clark of Lewis and Clark fame when he was out there. He knew William Henry Harrison, a president of the United States, and Richard Mentor Johnson, who was vice president, or Martin Van Buren. He, of course, probably, I'm sure, crossed paths with John Chapman, Johnny Appleseed, who who came through here during that time period on his way to Fort Wayne. So, very famous person, knew a lot of people, well respected by people in the American government, and of course we know that he was well rewarded with a tract of 320 acres, which is our village today, and then 640 acres on the north side of the St. Mary's River. So he was given a lot of land at that time for his services, and it tells you how much the government actually respected him and his wife. So we do have a group coming from Case Western Reserve next week, and they're going to go through this log house. They are a class of Native American Studies, and they have a special interest here with Anthony Shane. So it's kind of a special day for us, having them come down from Cleveland to take a look at this log house. So again, something to be very proud of, and this restoration project is extremely important, and it'd be great when we get it finished.
Okay, you want to take a look on the inside?
Sure, let's take a look inside. It's been a while I've been in here, so I don't know, Brad. Let's see what we got here.
Maybe we won't get inside.
Yeah, maybe we won't get inside. There it goes. There it goes.
Okay.
It just took a little while. And that's part of the maintenance. We got to make sure that we keep these locks oiled up. As you can see, this is really swelled up, and again, needs to be cared for. So this is the inside. To give you a little more light, I'll open the back door. Let some air in here.
Okay.
But again, the doors are swelled because of the weather. And it's just fantastic when you come in here and know that a family was raised in here. Believe it or not, Baptist missionary Isaac McCoy, who became very popular in the city of Fort Wayne and established the first Protestant church in Fort Wayne, held services in this very house. So it has a lot of history there accordingly, and actually Lamatesh, or Aquila Knox, the wife of Anthony Shane, was a convert. She converted to the Baptist faith because of Isaac McCoy. And eventually Shane did too. Shane was a Catholic who eventually converted to the Baptist faith. So if you look up above here, you'll see some hand-hewn beams. You can see the axe marks up there, telling you that these beams are quite old. There are some beams in here that are not, that were probably cut at a sawmill later on, but they are still old beams. If you look at the walls, the chinking looks pretty good inside. It's the outside that we struggle with because of weather. We have some old tools that are in here. We have an adze, for example, pick adze. This here is a grindstone that was used to sharpen tools with. Here's an old shoe repair kit. Of course, a drill and a plane there. We have this cultivator. There's a corn jobber. This, Brad, believe it or not, is
a window blind?
Nope, but a good guess.
A louver?
Nope, but a good guess.
Washboard.
Washboard, yeah. Can you believe that? This is an old washboard that was used. Next we have this. This was used in many homes. This is made out of soapstone. Do you know what that is?
For sharpening knives?
Well, that probably could have been. It's actually used as a foot warmer. They would warm this up at night, put it in the bed, and you put this under your feet and keep your feet warm at night. So a lot of those were made and sold and so on and so forth. That saw there is a meat saw. This is Billy Shane that you see here. We have a picture of Billy Shane. This is a barrel, and you know, barrels were handmade back then. The people that made them are called coopers. And of course you have the hoops of the rings that we see that were handmade, and it's amazing how these people are so gifted at making such a thing, because it takes a while, but they can do it with precision, and to do it right, it's just remarkable. Matter of fact, I think you have to go through an apprenticeship to do this. This chair here, Brad, is special because on the bottom, and I will lift it up, it has Shane's Crossing. And so it was shipped probably by rail here to Shane's Crossing. So it's between 1866 to 1890. And a mate to it is right here in town. We have a lady who has one that's a mate to this, and said that maybe someday she'll donate it to the museum. So that's a pretty special piece that we have right here. We have traps hanging back here, leg hold traps. Trapping was not just a way to make money, but a way to survive back at that time. And the number one fur to be trapped was beaver. And beaver was used for making beaver hats. And so it's very popular. Matter of fact, it's almost equated to things like sugar and coffee. It's so valuable. And those traps that you see there certainly aren't beaver traps. Those are small. Those would be like for a muskrat, whatever. Beaver traps would be much larger, probably double spring. And but it kind of gives you an idea of what was used at that time. Now you see this metropolitan block right here. This block is a street block. That's what they used for the streets in Rockford many years ago. And you'll see some walkways in people's homes that have that block there. Very thick, very heavy. I can't imagine laying them as a whole street.
My patio used to be made completely
from that?
of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's amazing that it is.
Yeah.
That's an oil lamp there that was used back then. Of course, there's no electricity, so they used the different types of oils, kerosene, for example, and that's what they would heat or light the homes with. This fireplace was unique because it provided some heat. It was a cooking place, and in nighttime even provided some light. So that's a pretty special item that the house is used. Typically people slept upstairs. The heat from down here would actually go up through the floorboards and kind of heat the upstairs. Sometimes a hole might have been cut, a square, to allow the heat to go up, but that's what that was for. We had this table that was donated, cut from a tree. I think that's very, very unique. I think Roy Thompson might have had that out there on his farm. Very special. And imagine using this, Brad, to cut grass with. This is an old side, you know, because this is what they used to use, and some people still use them today. So that would be not a very fun lawnmower. And then we have over here this insulator. Of course, these insulators went on top of. In the early days, telegraphs and telephone lines had poles, and these insulators were on the top to insulate those lines. So
what is this?
this here actually was brought in, and I can't even tell you what it is. They put people, when they would donate stuff, would put money in there. So I can't tell you what this is. It certainly was used for. I'm sure it's farm use at one time, but I really can't tell you what it is used for today. There's an old rug beater that's hanging on the wall. Well, no, this isn't, but there used to be one hanging here. I thought it was, but we had one hanging here at one time. So I don't see it, so. But this draw knife was important. I started to talk about that. That was used to smooth wood out, clean wood off, take bark off, shape wood. Had a multitude of uses. Matter of fact, it's even used in barrel making. This bed here was donated. Beds back then typically were rope lined, but this is an old baby bed that was donated to us, and we're very fortunate to have that, as well as the other items. This is an old Bible, and almost every home had a Bible in it at that time. As a matter of fact, in early schools, the Bible was the reading book in early times, in the one-room schoolhouses. These crocks up here were very common back then, handmade out of clay, and they served different purposes, maybe to hold different types of beverages in or drink. This could have been for soups and so on and so forth. So very important. We have a steel pot down there, cast pot that was used. There's a wooden bowl that was hand-hewn, that's handmade. Again, people with a certain gift really.
Now there is an upstairs, which we won't go up.
Yeah, right.
But I guess,
Typically very narrow.
yes, very narrow stairway. It turns at the corner.
Yes.
And it just goes straight up then?
It goes to your right and goes straight up. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So as you can tell from looking outside, it's a fairly tall cabin.
It is. It's very tall.
It's a 2-story cabin.
Yeah. And we use the words log house and log cabin interchangeably. Some people claim that a log house is 2-story, a log cabin's 1. Sometimes we relate to size. A cabin's smaller than a house. But you'll find a lot of times those words are used interchangeably, cabin and house.
Mm-hmm.
So we refer to it as a log house, but log cabin is also appropriate. So
Okay.
yeah, it just depends on semantics there. If you would notice though, Brad, I'd like you to look at how wide these boards are. It's unreal how wide these boards are. We're talking boards a foot wide.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. Yeah.
There's my foot, and it's pretty much,
Probably a foot.
yeah. Foot.
And if you look at these boards, and I know that these are contemporary boards, but if you look, they did try to show how square nails were used back then. And square nails were handmade. That's unreal that these people handmade these nails that were square. So if you see a square nail, typically it's old. You can buy even square nails if you want to today as a replica.
Yeah.
But I found in my wall at my house, I had to cut a wall out and there was a bag of square nails in there. And it's remarkable that somebody had taken the time to chisel and cut those out. One of the things too I wanted to mention is this. We have a couple of axes here, and there's different types of axes. But this was a very important tool to early settlers. You look at these logs and how they came down. Now, it might have been with a 2-man crosscut saw, which was a lot of work, a 1-man crosscut saw, or an axe. And so, if you looked at these broad axes, some of them are a foot wide, and they're heavy. You pick them up and they're really heavy. So the men that swung these axes, probably in a little better shape than I am for sure, And so it was a tool that was used for many purposes, but primarily to cut down trees. We have to remember, when this area was settled, it was pretty much woods and swamp. And so they had to clear all this land to make it for farming. But the land, because it was part of the Great Black Swamp, we're the southern end of that lake, was very fertile. And so the crops here were really great. The Native Americans knew that. It's interesting because the Native Americans in the early times came and went, a lot of them. And we did have a village out here at the Old Town Run. So there's a village out there, and of course there's villages here and there, but a lot of times they moved, depending on the weather, where the food went, typically followed the river route, the St. Mary's River. We always said that, when you stop and you look at the St. Mary's River, it's linked a lot of places, and Fort Wayne was a hub up there. Not only as today a thriving city, but back then it was a hub for trade. You know, first the French and then the English came, and Native Americans had a huge settlement there, the Miami. And so when you stop and you look at how important the river was for trade, for fishing, for a lot of things, it's very special. So, and typically along waterways is where you found your food.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, animals didn't get too far away from there because that's where you found your food. So, so as we leave here today, I think that again we've been blessed with something that most communities don't have, and that is their founders' house, and you know, with the history behind it, knowing that this place housed some very important people, I think it's more than worthwhile preserving it. And again, any kind of help that we can get and financially to help restore this would be welcome. And I'm thankful for the people who actually took on this project. This house was found north of town on the King Farm, and a special group of people tore it down, brought it in, put it back together, of course, with help, and put this thing up, and it's been up here since about 1996. So it's been here a while. And again, probably with very little maintenance, but the maintenance you don't see until it starts to get bad. A lot of times it starts on the inside. You look at it and think, boy, how beautiful. From a distance it looks okay, but when on the inside you just don't see it coming. And then when it comes, it goes real fast. And that's what's happened here. Yeah, so really feel thankful that again, for the people that took the time, took the energy, took the money to bring this log house in here so it can be enjoyed by the community and by those from outside the community. And knowing that it's a part of not just Rockford history, but you know, Northwest Ohio history is extremely important.
Well, thanks a lot, Mike Schumm, for taking us on a tour of this log house located in the Shanes Park in Rockford. As he said, we're accepting donations to restore, for the upkeep of this cabin, which it direly needs. It needs attention. So thank you for watching this video. And if you're watching on FaceTime through YouTube, like it, subscribe to the Shanes Crossing Historical Society homepage, and also on YouTube. Press the like button and please subscribe to the channel. It helps us out in getting this information out.
And
So,
Brad, I'd like to thank you for taking the time to do this. That was very special. Thank you.
okay. Take care. Bye.
Yeah.